Good morning, everyone. Bruno Rodriguez here, incident meteorologist, joined by our interpreter, Tara, once again. So this is your weather update for Monday, I believe, or Tuesday. I've kind of lost track. It's Tuesday, I've just been told. Need my second coffee. So last night we saw some fairly modest humidity recovery, mostly 30 to 40% for most areas. It was a little bit higher up in the Pecos wilderness as usual, just because cold air loves to drain into those deeper drainages and ravines in that area. But for the most part, that 30 to 40% range for RH recovery. Starting to come down today, so we're looking at current conditions. So the green numbers here are indicating the current humidity. So for the most part, in the general vicinity of the fire, looking at current humidity in the 15 to 20% range. Elk Mountain, as usual, the one outlier there. Dry southwest flow prevailing today. Southwest flow tends to be a dry flow pattern for this area of New Mexico. So looking for very dry conditions persisting this afternoon again. So should see some humidity creep into the single digits as we get into the afternoon hours. And with that, we actually have another red flag warning today. It's a pretty marginal one, but the local office did put that out yesterday. So we're looking at a brief period of maybe a couple of hours of locally critical fire weather conditions, mostly up near the very highest elevation. So the ridge tops where winds are going to be strongest. So mostly for that exposed terrain, we're going to be looking at sustained speeds today on the order of 15 to 20 miles an hour, and then a few gusts in the 30 to 35 mile an hour range. It's also a shorter duration red flag warning. It goes into effect 1 p.m. this afternoon and then expires at 8 p.m. And I promise you, this will be the last red flag warning for this wind event at least. We'll have a couple of nice days in between with cooler and more moist conditions to come. Main thing we're really watching out for today is that backdoor cold front that I've been talking about for a few days. So we are still on track for that. You can kind of see signs of that on this map. So this is showing you pretty much all surface weather stations across northeast New Mexico into the Panhandle as well, and northwest Texas. You can see this kind of northeast direction for those winds indicating that backdoor cold front, which is currently just kind of sitting there in that northeast corner of the state. As we head into the later half of the day, we're going to see that start to inch closer to us. So eastern portions of the fire should begin to notice some easterly or northeasterly winds come this evening. And then the more sensitive locations up on the western side, Pecos Wilderness in particular, probably not seeing that shift to easterly winds until after midnight tonight. We're watching that closely. Obviously, everyone's well informed about it on this fire, but overall, it looks fairly light. I would expect less than 10 to 15 miles an hour with those winds. And the good news is it will bring a pretty substantial improvement in overnight recoveries. I would expect RH to climb up to above 60, maybe 70% if we're lucky, especially for some of those higher elevations and the east-facing slopes. So overall, much better change in terms of humidity tonight, and that trend is going to continue as well as we head into the second half of the week. So talking about the forecast over the next few days, for tomorrow, after that little bit of easterly wind pushes through tonight, we should see a gradual transition back to prevailing south or southwest flow. So those kind of northeast gap winds that will be funneling through the Las Vegas area will funnel through that I-25 corridor, kind of rotate around the base of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, and then kind of funnel up the Pecos Valley in more of a south-southwest direction. So going back to a more favorable wind direction by tomorrow. Again, much better recoveries in the morning, and daytime humidity is coming up as well. Still somewhat dry, down maybe around 20% humidity, but overall considerably better than the past several days. So good news on that front. Should notice some increasing clouds as well, so we're going to see increasing moisture as we head into the middle parts of the week. We'll see some increase in Gulf of Mexico moisture, influx into the state starting Wednesday and becoming a little more pronounced Thursday and Friday. So For Wednesday, at the moment, I'm expecting pretty much all the convective activity, all the thunderstorm action to stay east of the fire, mostly in the plains. I think we're going to struggle to get anything out here just because that moisture and instability is not going to be far enough west. That'll change, though, once we get into Thursday and Friday. So we are looking, again, at potential for thunderstorm development. Sort of similar to what we saw about a week ago when we saw some thunderstorms in the area. Difference being it looks like that moisture and that instability is going to be able to penetrate a little bit further west, probably up to the Continental Divide and western New Mexico. So that boundary between east winds for the central and eastern parts of the state and west winds to the west and over Arizona should help initiate thunderstorms farther west than what we saw last week. So giving us better chances as they move on east of actually getting those thunderstorms and also potentially getting some wetting rain with that. So a little bit better potential in terms of rainfall from those thunderstorms and also likely a little bit more widespread. Again, this would be mostly for the Thursday and Friday time frame. One thing that comes with that, though, is some potential for essentially hydrologic impacts on the burn scar. There's a lot of burn terrain out there. I'd say overall the potential is fairly low, but it is non-zero. So it's something that we are monitoring. Post-fire hazards are a real threat, and they are often overlooked. So regardless of exactly how things materialize Thursday or Friday, we are gradually approaching monsoon season here in New Mexico. That tends to pick up late June and especially by early July. Usually New Mexico is one of the few, if not the only state where the monsoon season pretty much always arrives at some point or another. So it's definitely something that should be on your minds. Not trying to scare you here, but just trying to build awareness on the potential hazards moving forward as the firefighters continue their incredible work in getting this thing contained. So with that, I do have a couple of links to share with you. First one is a page called floodsmart.gov, I believe, /wildfires. This is the federal webpage. Has a bunch of good preparedness information here. A lot of it is geared towards insurance information, but they also have good information on just general preparedness of your home for potential flood impacts and things like that. That is one resource. Another good one is going to be your local forecast office here in Albuquerque. So if you go to weather.gov/ABQ, this will be a great resource for you heading into the monsoon season. They post daily updates here, forecast discussions. You can type your zip code for a forecast. And if there is hazardous weather in the forecast, they'll be posting safety and preparedness graphics here for you as well. Social media channels for them, I'd also recommend at NWS Albuquerque for their Facebook and Twitter feeds. Definitely give them a follow. They will be a very good resource for you. So with that, I will wrap it up. This is actually going to be my last Facebook briefing for you guys. I'm timing out today. I was kind of short and sweet on this fire. I was reassigned from another one, so I wasn't here a full 14 on this one. But all I want to say is it's been a pleasure doing these for you guys. Hopefully you found them enjoyable and useful. I had a great time being here, and hopefully I can come back soon to New Mexico, just not for a fire. With that, I will be leaving you in great hands. Tom Bird out of the El Paso forecast office is going to be my replacement starting tomorrow. And he was the first I met on the Calf Canyon fire right in the early days. So he's familiar with the area and the terrain around here, so you're going to be in great hands. With that, thanks and have a fantastic day.